What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and this is the B1KER Bar, episode 46. I can't believe it. Here we are, coming into the second season, hot and hot, and I don't even know what else I'm going to say because no matter what, it's going to sound like a bad joke. So, anyways, I'm really excited about tonight's show. First things first, though, I want to thank everybody for stopping by. If you're new here, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It's a brand new channel, so it's important to get you guys to subscribe so that you'll know for the notifications and stuff like that whenever I'm putting out some stuff. And then also there's like certain things that I just can't do with my channel until I have enough subscribers. So if you hit that subscribe button, man, I will be extremely happy. And if you like see a post that you like sometime I've been doing all these clips during the week, you see one you dig, share it, because I need to get the word out. Otherwise, it's just going to be like me and 6 other people in here watching these live streams, which I'm enjoying, but hopefully you guys are too. And you'll hit that like button, the subscribe button, and then we'll be good to go. Outside of that, I do want to talk for just a second about my show sponsor that I have is Project 321. If you guys heard me talk about it last week, he's been, Jake is the guy that owns the company. They're out of Bend, Oregon. They make high quality hubs. So if you're looking for a gravel hub or an MTB hub, you like lots of colors, they're a good place to go because they have great hubs. I've been riding them for, man, it's been probably well over 10 years, maybe even almost 15 years. I've been riding my bikes with their hubs. And not to say I don't have other hubs too, but I really enjoy it. It's got his new driver, which is what he uses in all of his hubs now, is magnetic, which is kind of cool. So whenever you're doing some maintenance on your hub and you're moving those pawls around, you don't shoot one of those springs across the room like, and then have to figure out where you're coming up with a new spring. So that's pretty cool. They also have a wider hub flange on them, which is a little harder to machine, but according to him, it's better. So you can get those with 144 points of engagement or with 216 points of engagement, which is a boatload. You definitely notice if you have a lower end hub now, or like maybe you bought the bottom of the line bike and you're trying to build it up to something better, you'll notice a huge difference with that much engagement. So the other thing is, please, there are a bunch of other sponsors. All those guys, you know who you are. Everybody that's on Patreon, I really appreciate you guys, all of you. Seriously, this channel and the other channel, the B1KER channel, wouldn't be happening if you guys weren't there. If you want to be part of that, swing by patreon.com/B1KER. That's the B1KER Patreon. You can get yourself some stickers. You can get yourself some early release videos, or you can just help me put beer in the beer fridge, which has been needed as of lately. I don't know why. Maybe it's this whole pandemic thing going on. I'm drinking everything that's in there. So let's go ahead and get started. So this week, I'm pretty excited, man. We have somebody that was actually on the second episode of the first season, which is Alex from Singletrack Sampler. I'm assuming that you guys all know who he is. So I'm going to go ahead and throw him up onto the stream here. What's up, Alex?
Hello, what's up?
Not much, man. Oh, dude, I'm doing good, man. I'm stoked that we're here, man.
I'm stoked to be here, dude. I'm ready to hang and have a beer.
Right? You were just telling me before the stream that you haven't had a beer in a while.
I have not been drinking, and it's been kind of nice.
Yeah.
But for like a lot of different reasons. First of all, I'm trying to like really get in shape, so that's kind of the impetus. And I mean, we're also on quarantine, so
yeah.
I'm not sure I would be allowed to break quarantine to go get beer. I don't know if that's a valid reason. Probably is. But, you know, it does make every time I do get to have a beer even better, though. So It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. I went over and hung with Johnny from Crafted Workshop, and we had a couple cocktails, and it was like, it's been so long. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
There you go. Right on, man. So you guys been locked down pretty hard, huh?
Yeah, you know, we're taking it seriously. There's no reason not to, really. We've got everything we need here, and we can pretty much continue per usual. And, you know, Seth has asthma, so if he were to get this, it'd be pretty serious.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're acting accordingly, and I'm a guest in the house, and I was just gonna follow suit,
Yeah,
just
yeah, no, totally.
do whatever they decided, and
Yeah, well,
it's been totally cool with me.
the asthma thing makes a lot of sense. At first, whenever
Right.
I was watching the other video the other day and you guys were talking about spraying the boxes with Lysol and stuff, I was like, man, these guys are taking this shit serious, man. Like I must look like I'm like that guy on the internet right now because I'm not doing that.
Oh no, you weren't alone. I mean, it's such a topic of conversation for everyone right now.
Right.
You talk about anything to do with quarantine, just the idea of quarantine. I put that video up and there's all sorts of people in the comments like, it's a conspiracy. I can't believe you bought into that.
It's so hard
to tell me show me one person. I was like, I know people that have had it.
It's so hard to like not fall into that trap of talking about it. I'll tell you what, though, what I did see that, and you just touched on a minute ago, is like, dude, you're putting some work in down there in the basement, man.
Oh yeah, man. I'll tell you what. In the last 2 years, I don't like pay attention to my weight or anything. I just go based on feel and how I feel when I go out and ride mainly. So it's like, how hard was it to get to the top of the mountain? Right. But since starting my YouTube channel, mainly in the last like 2 years, I hadn't even realized it, but I finally got on a scale. Because obviously I don't have a scale. That's not something that's like, you don't put that in the van.
It's not essential for the van.
No. But I got on one and I had put on 25 pounds. I was like, whoa, no wonder it's so hard getting up these hills.
Well, your beard's bigger, man. Your hair's longer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's maybe like totally 1/20th of a pound ish.
Right.
Maybe 100.
Man. I count whatever I can to like knock shit off the scale for me. So I'm like, definitely. I haven't cut my hair in a while. I don't think I peed yet today.
Haven't stood on the scale with clothes ever.
Right. Like, what's funny? I was listening to our old podcast, the one that we did when I very first started the Biker Bar. And oddly enough, during that podcast, you were also squatting at Seth's house.
I know. I was going to say, I remember very, very well that I was in the hack shack at the time. I was in the garage.
Yeah, you were in the process of building the van, and now here we are.
Oh yeah. So I was like truly squatting at that time.
Yeah. That's just funny, It's like it was one of those things. I was like, man, I should listen to that and see what we talked about, and it's interesting. It's definitely that's one of the things that's really cool about YouTube is like you're like documenting the shit out of your life,
Yeah, totally. I think about that all the time. About like the fact that you can, I don't know if I'll ever have kids, but if you did, you don't have to even, you can tell stories. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not in danger of forgetting what I did with my life. It's all documented. So like, that's good.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. No, it's totally cool. It's fun. Even with your friends, it's like, I know sometimes my buddies will get to having a few beers and they'll be like, dude, let's watch that ride, and we'll start arguing about who did what or whatever. So it's definitely fun for that.
Yeah, so no, it is cool. It's like a time capsule.
Yeah, totally is. You were up in the Pacific Northwest last year, and you were talking to me about coming down this way, and for whatever reason, that didn't work out. And then I saw shortly after that, like you did like a big road trip with your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
How'd that go? What was that all about?
Man, I don't think a lot of people know about that because I only ever posted anything on Instagram and I haven't actually made a video out of it. But it was awesome. I can't wait to make a video. I have all sorts of awesome footage, and it was an all-time road trip. So first of all, I wanted to come check out Downeyville, and I think what I did was I started looking up the temps up in the mountains, and I got discouraged. It was already like pretty cold.
Well, and I remember distinctively, and this kind of kicked me in the ass too, man. I remember distinctively telling you, like, look, dude, you're telling me, hey, I could be there in like 2 weeks, and I was like, it's gonna snow any day, and when that happens, that place is done, right? Like, and I just remember telling you, like, I mean, if you don't care that we don't do that, like, come on down. But if that's what you really, really want to do, you'd be better off like waiting until spring or something like that.
Right.
I remember telling you that. And then I ended up riding Downeyville like 2 to 3 weeks later.
No way.
Yes, I did. And I remember thinking to myself, man, I should have just told him to come. Look, it's fine. We had a great day. And it was like,
man,
yeah.
Dude. That's what you get. That's the high mountains for you, though. You know, you never know. It's the same thing out in Colorado. It's like you can have there's like a random day in November or December that's like a sunny day and it hasn't snowed a ton. Things melt and people go ride bikes, and then like the next week they're back to snowboarding again. You know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that happened to us last season out here, like kind of on the flip side, where it was like we had so much snow up in the mountains where normally we could get up into Downeyville sometimes in the middle of May, late May. It'll definitely be running shuttles. And
wow, you guys really have to wait till late, huh?
Right. So last year it was the second week of July until
holy cow.
Until they were running
shuttles. Is it?
The top of it is, I'm just gonna guess it's probably somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000 feet at the top.
Oh, okay. So I mean,
that's
pretty high up there.
Yeah, and it's like where the trail is too is like on the shady side of the hill. So it's like it takes a little bit for the very top to melt. So usually like if we're up there in May, we're probably doing a little hike bike through some snow here and there. And
I've seen you doing that in videos.
Yeah.
Which is cool though. It adds to the adventure.
Oh yeah. I did that with Dusty Betty. Man, it was like the best day ever because it was just, there's nobody else up there. Right. Yeah. You know, and I don't know if you've hung out with her and her husband, Steve.
I have not, but I'm
super cool.
I'm pretty sure that that's the video that I saw.
Yeah. Yeah. They're super cool. And then honestly, at the very bottom of the trail, which this is funny because the way it is there, I don't know if you have something like this in Colorado, but it'll be, you know, snow on the top. But by the time you get down to the bottom, it's dusty and blown out because it's been dry down there for, you know, 2 months.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
So light is a lot like that.
Yeah. So it is like that day, like by the time we got down to the bottom, it started sprinkling too. So it was like nobody on the trail, perfect trail conditions, cool people. Like it just worked out really well.
That's sick.
So last time we chat, you said that Salida was kind of like your happy place and you were hoping to get back over there. I don't think you did in the last year.
No, I didn't. Like things didn't really go according to plan last winter. Actually, no, I take that back. So, I mean, it ties back into your last question. I didn't really answer that. So instead of going and doing Downeyville, so I was looking for like an adventure for the fall season, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And that's basically what I was doing. And I was also looking for somewhere warm to hang out. Yeah. And so that was why I was looking at Downeyville, you know, other place in California, like lower elevation Colorado, which is Salida. Salida is in like a banana belt, so it stays warm there a lot longer than the rest.
Oh, right on.
So, but in the end, what I ended up doing was I had this idea to invite my dad out on a road trip because I planned on going back, or I went back home this winter. I had not gone back home last winter, and I kind of experimented. I was like, I wonder what it's like to not go home. It sucked. I missed my family. So I learned my lesson, you know, and I decided, I knew immediately that I would go home this year. So I called my dad up because he had so much fun. He road tripped out to Whistler with me earlier in the year and he had so much fun. Like I got to show my dad things like for the first time that just blow your mind, you know, like the Grand Teton Mountains. He had never seen those. Like getting to show someone the Teton Mountains for the first time is such an epic thing.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
And so I wanted to do it again. So I invited him out. He's never really explored the Southwest. So I ended up going down and hanging with our friend in Vegas. It's actually his friend turned my friend. His name is Dave and Donna. And I kind of like see them basically every fall now because they've been in Temecula and now they're in Vegas. So it's a perfect spot for the shoulder season, right?
Yeah.
So I went and hung out with them, and then I had this idea. I was like, man, Dad. So I called my dad up. He flew out to Vegas, which is like, you know, the easiest place ever to fly into.
Right. There's always flights, right?
Yeah, and affordable ones. And then from there, we took a Southwest road trip, and I got to show him I got to show him some cool things that I had seen, and then we got to go see some things that were like really epic that I'd never seen, like Antelope Canyon or the Horseshoe Bend in the Colorado River. So
one of my buddies went to Horseshoe Bend not too long ago. He was showing me some pictures. It was pretty sick, man.
it's cool, dude. It's cool. The whole area. I think the Southwest is a super cool place. I enjoy the desert greatly.
I will say though, somewhere between like Phoenix and El Paso is really, really boring to drive.
Yeah, I'll give you that for sure. I think you have to go more north is the thing. That's the mountains.
I did that drive through 10 and then went up to a friend of mine was getting married in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And that was like,
I know the stretch that you're talking about. Actually, I know that stretch. I did that last year and I had never done it.
Did you see the thing on the 10?
Yes.
There's like signs for like hundreds of miles. Like, see the thing.
I remember that. And dude, they did such a good job because I was so curious. I was like, what is the thing?
Right.
And then I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No.
Oh man. I could tell you could search it on the internet, but I'll leave it to you to actually stop next time. It only costs $1, dude. Go see the thing.
Oh, really? If I had known that, man. I mean, shoot. Last time I don't pull off at attractions like that anymore because last time I did, I was with my buddy Chance and we were heading out to Flagstaff and there was this one. It was like they said it was a crater, an asteroid crater. It was in the middle of nowhere. But for whatever reason, we like pulled off and we went in. We're like, oh, this would be cool. Like, why not? We got time. We're like ahead schedule. Dude, we went in to go see it. And it was like this actual facility and they were charging $45 to go in.
What?
And we had driven like 20 minutes out of the way.
Oh, yeah. I would have been irritated as hell then.
Oh, I was so pissed.
The thing wasn't amazing, but for $1, it was worth it. You know what I mean?
You can justify anything for $1.
$45 though, dude. I'd be irritated, especially after going that far out of the way. Yeah, that's
per
nuts,
person.
Dude.
Insane for a roadside attraction.
Right? What are they thinking?
And oh man, you want to know the worst thing? The bathrooms were inside, so we couldn't go in. We couldn't even go in and use the bathroom. We had to go all the way back out to the highway and all the way down the highway to find restrooms.
Oh, that's weak.
That was terrible.
Did you get? Speaking of bathrooms, you don't have something in the van, huh?
I've got a couple bottles.
That's what. So it's the bottle trick there, because you don't have one of those. Like I've seen some of these like handy little small sitting kind of. I don't know what they are. They kind of remind you of like a little kid's toilet, and it's got maybe I don't know. Do they have a bag in it or something?
Yeah, that's how they do it. I do have something like that, and I've never used it. Someone from the channel actually sent it to me. It's in one of my thumbnails for my van videos when I was sitting on it's called the commode, and it's pretty sweet. I mean, it's got like it's a 5-gallon bucket,
Oh
and
yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, I did see that one.
They just made something to sit on, and then inside of it are just tons and tons and tons of plastic bags, little kits, basically like one of those kits that Seth brings on rides,
Right.
Are we allowed to curse in these podcasts?
You can do whatever you want, man.
Yeah, so like the shit kits.
Shit kits.
So it's got like the baggy toilet paper, wipe, and hand sanitizer. So like they've just got a bunch of those in this thing. So it's pretty sweet.
My buddy calls it trail money.
Yeah.
Just bring the toilet. I always steal the toilet paper out of the like pits that they have at some of the state parks, and I'll just put a little roll of it in the bag or something like that.
Yeah. I guess if I was in California, I would have to do that too. I was going to say, it sounds stupid when I say it out loud, but I've always just used leaves.
Yeah. There's like too many poison oak leaves around where I ride, dude.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like in California, I'd probably do the same, or anywhere you're riding high alpine. But
I can tell you this is such an odd conversation. But I've only had to do that once. And it was actually within like the last couple of months, man. Like every other time I'm pretty good about the PRD or just like usually like as soon as I get active, like I can't go to the bathroom. Right. So, but yeah, I just had that happen recently, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, it is. It's a funny thing because it's like if you're on the ride, it's a double-edged sword because you're like, all right, I don't really want to do this. Maybe you're not prepared. Maybe you don't
Right,
have
right,
any TT or whatever. It's like, all right, the rest of my ride might be not fantastic. But at
right,
the same time, if you don't just commit and do it, your ride's gonna suck anyway. Your ride's gonna be
right.
miserable. So it's like, uh, and
What are
then
you gonna
and
do?
then there's like, man, what if someone comes up the trail? So it's like, how far do you go? What do you do with your
Right.
bike? It's like it turns into this whole thing. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like everyone's pretty much been there, but
Yeah, it's
yeah.
definitely one of those things. It's just, it's like I remember whenever it happened, I was like, okay, so I've been carrying toilet paper in my bag for like 15 years, and this is the first time
Same.
that I've had to use it. It's like this is ridiculous. I really need to reevaluate what I'm carrying.
You go to use it and it just disintegrates.
Right. I think more times than not, I've given it to my friends, and I'm like, why am I being the guy that's carrying everything for everybody else?
I mean, there's always that friend.
I've been that guy for a long time, but I tell you what, I don't know how much you pay attention to my channel. I got a hardtail a while back, and ever since I got that thing,
I thought you like just got a new hardtail.
no, I got about a year ago. I think
Okay.
I just did a follow-up video on it that was pretty
Right.
recent. So, and so basically through getting that, it kind of just made me want to downsize everything. And
Yeah.
and I think because I was using it a lot too, like on my like short after work rides. So it'd be like, oh man, if I can just put some water bottles on here and not carry a Camelback, I'm not filming. I don't need it for that. And then it's like, well, I do need a couple of tools. I don't want to be like stuck out here. I can't even like, tighten my brake lever or something. You know what I mean? Something silly.
Right.
So it just kind of turned into that. And honestly, I would have never thought that I'd be a guy that would do the fanny pack. Are you a fanny pack guy or are you a Camelback guy?
Dude, I am a recent convert. Seth's got me on it, man.
Yeah, I'm like falling into it, man, a little bit at a time. I had
It's
one.
so good. I started it last summer out in Washington.
Yeah.
Because I was doing like smaller, it's just smaller rides. Like when you're actually riding a trail system in Colorado, I don't know if I would because it's like if I'm way up there, I want to have everything with me. I want to have like a ton of water, but there's also water filters. So
yeah, for me though, it's like if I'm on a big ride, that's like high altitude like that, I'm definitely filming, so I'm definitely bringing the Camelback. And I like to have like, especially when I'm out like that, I like to I have a first aid kit that I carry. I feel like it's really important. And if I was trying to not bring that with me, I just have to figure out somewhere else to put it on the bike. But for the most part, I think what happened to me is I started just using water bottles because I was like doing these like short rides. And then it was like I got so accustomed to not having that thing on my back, then it was like, well, maybe I can get away with this.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And now
actually,
it's just,
I have a funny story about that. So like Seth for like the last couple of years, Seth has been kind of going towards that. And I think it started when he was doing the water bottle test videos. That was him like, all right, I'm trying to dial in my no pack scenario. That's what he was doing. And ever since then, so he's got like the Tubo Lido, he's got the perfect water bottle cage, he's got like the bigger water bottle. Ever since then, he's been just and he's got the most important thing is this, like, I think it's a Dakine, some sort of Dakine pouch that holds like the Tubo Lido, tire levers, CO2, patch kit. It holds like everything and it puts it on your frame. And that was the key. So anyway, he's been on me about like, yo, you gotta try going with, because I mean, you can imagine Seth is going to take anything to the nth degree. So it's like he went from backpack to hip pack, and before you know it, he's at the hip pack and he's like trying to go no pack. So now he's trying to convince me to go no pack, and he's been just preaching it. He's like, yo, you gotta try this. It's the most just amazing thing ever. It's so freeing. So we went on a ride a couple of weeks ago. Our first, like the only ride we've done for while we're on quarantine. It was actually a week ago, And I took him to this like way out of their place, a place that I knew that no one else would be. And it was on a Monday morning. So that we knew we weren't going to run into anyone, but it was like away from here.
Right.
So like away from the city. And anyway, somehow he convinced me to go without a pack. So he actually, I know what it was. He had a slightly larger water bottle than mine. So I was like, all right, well, man, I don't know. Maybe now I can get away with this. Like, this would be awesome. And I was like, you got a tube, you got all the other stuff. He's like, man, I got it all. I got it on my bike. You're good. And so I put my phone in my pocket, one snack, and a water bottle in the cage, and we went for it. And we did a lap, came back, filled up the water because it's like a big climb. It's like the climb, down. So we did one lap, and then we went back up. And the thing is when you're going on water bottles, your timing, it's all about timing. The ideal situation is you time it so that when you get down to the bottom, you have the water.
Right.
So we did that, and we get to the bottom of the mountain after the second run, and we're completely out of everything. We've eaten our food, we've had all of our water, and then we look around like, where are we? and we look at the map, and we went down the complete wrong side of the mountain. Complete wrong side of the mountain. And so we started looking to try to like find our way around, and Seth's quads start cramping up, and he's like on the ground, he like can't walk, and he's like, oh no, this is terrible. And like we tried to like find our way around. We were stuck on the wrong side of the French Broad River, which is a huge river. So it's like we contemplated. Right. Well, we contemplated it. So basically, long story short, what we ended up doing is like a 1,200 foot death march with no water, no food, and it sucked.
Yeah. That guy, he talked you into it, man.
He talked me into it, but the thing is it would have worked. Yeah. It would have been perfect. It actually was amazing.
Well, my hardtail has the room for 2 bottles, so that's
my God, you're so set.
Yeah, dude, it's so nice. It's like, it's been perfect. There's been a few rides where, fortunately, I was kind of doing like a figure 8 kind of deal, and my truck was in the middle of the figure 8. So like on the one section, I was like, well, I can just stop by my truck and top this bottle back off. And it was like a pretty hot day, so it worked out. But I think in the wintertime, it's easier to get away with not bringing the whole bag. But out here, once it hits summer out here, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that unless it's like a 7-mile ride or something. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so hot.
Dude, totally. I went down to Florida and I went out and I went to head out on a ride with Mr. Tonka, Joe. And I didn't have my pack on, and he just looked at me. He's like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, oh yeah, all right. You're probably right. It's pretty hot out here.
Yeah. We were riding, up here right before Sedona. So that's like right before all this stuff happened. And I think it was like in between 50 and 60 degrees up here. Okay. And we got down to Phoenix, and the first day we rode South Mountain, and it was like 87 or something like that. And we were just dying. Like, dude, I think I had my whole Camelback full, like the big one. I drank the entire thing, it was like
3 liters.
Yeah, it's just like,
I've done that for sure.
Because your body's just not used to it that quick. You know what I mean? You're used to kind of stepping it through.
Mm-hmm. Do you think if you have it, you'll drink it? Part of me thinks that.
Yes and no.
Because I had the 3 liter for years, and I would always drink it all.
Yeah.
I felt really good.
Yeah, I think that's the key, though. You're not going to get yourself to a point where you're like cramping and all that stuff. Like,
right.
It's tough. I will say in the wintertime, I definitely don't need that kind of water. I'm just not that hot, Like there's been rides where I've taken 2 water bottles now with the hardtail, and it's like, I don't even finish 1 bottle. You know what I mean? But now it's going to warm up. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So anyways, so
what do you say we crack these beers, man?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And I'm gonna try one little adjustment. Don't freak out. I'm just gonna try to bring my camera a little closer.
We'll see what happens. We had all kinds of audio issues beforehand, guys.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about what I'm gonna drink here while you're getting your camera.
I'm curious what you're gonna drink. I'm sure you've got something delicious.
This thing is called.
You got some Lagunitas?
You know, I did a podcast the other day with some guys, and they wanted to drink Lagunitas. That was pretty fun. But no, this is called Mind Haze. It's from Firestone Walker. It's a IPA. I'm assuming it's a hazy IPA by the name.
I'd assume, yeah.
But the logo says beer before glory. That sounds pretty good.
So I've seen that brand. I'll be curious what you think. So I've seen that in groceries, and I didn't get it because Firestone. And I was like, and I was skeptical. I'd never heard of it, and then it's Firestone. It's like I don't know what to think.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Really?
It's definitely a hazy, and it's kind of like got that frothy hazy taste, you know. But it's got a kind of a fruity finish to it that I was a little surprised from.
I'm into the hazies, man. What do you think about the new craze?
You know, when they first came out, I jumped on. I was like, man, these are really good. But I noticed that like it didn't take me very long until I kind of wanted to get back to those bigger West Coast IPAs. So like I'm good with them here and there, but I can't do it all the time.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I've always been a big believer in variety in everything I do, to be honest, but especially with beer and food. It's like I always prefer, if I'm gonna have like a few beers, like I plan it out, you know. I'll start with like a Saison or a Farmhouse or something lighter, or maybe a session IPA. Yeah. And then after that you'll have your hazy, and then after that then you'll have your big West Coast IPA, you know.
There you go. Are you one of those guys that listens to like 30 seconds of a song and then his skip?
No. I listen to full songs.
You got the
but I listen to all sorts of different music. So hey, cheers, by the way.
Yeah, cheers, brother. So what do you got over there? It says something about Pisco on it?
Yeah, this is a Pisca from Pisca Brewing Pale Ale.
Right on.
Yeah. Pretty solid. I've had it before, local around here, and
so it's like
gonna be fantastic.
It's a go-to beer for people around there. What do you think?
It's pretty good, man.
Especially after not having beer in a while, I'm sure.
It's been over 2 weeks. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, they always taste good. It's funny sometimes too. You'll be like, man, I don't even remember it tasting like this.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, it's amazing what you forget in 2 weeks.
Right. So I'm gonna have to ask you this, man, because people are dying to know what the hell's going on here. So you took this road trip back to Florida with you, and with your dad. Mm-hmm. You fell off. What happened, man?
I knew this question was coming.
If you don't want to talk about it, I totally understand.
Oh, no, dude, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, it's not that complicated. I just kind of had to like readjust. So, I mean, if you want like the full answer, it really started all the way back.
Hang on just a second. I'm gonna chat just for a second because your internet seems like it's having some issues for a second. So, just kind of getting a little fluttery. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying, so I'm gonna try to buy a little bit of time and see if it after a minute here it just gets okay. So, what I was gonna say is I know in the past, whenever you got injured, there was a time where you kind of like got a little maybe overwhelmed with what was going on with your life, and your reaction to that as far as YouTube went was kind of like pull back. So I wasn't sure if something like that happened again. So let's see how
my internet. We've been struggling over here with the internet, man. Is it any better?
Yeah, we're getting a little digital, but maybe it'll go away.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's unfortunately nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So it is what it is at this point. You know how to sign language? You do sign language?
Yeah. Hold on, let me pull up my chart.
You just get your chart out. There you go.
Little refresher.
That's awesome. I just love the fact that this is how the internet likes to treat me. It's like, hey, man, everything's been great for the last 34 minutes, but you asked this dude the question that everybody on the internet wants to hear the answer to, and
How many people do we got right now?
Only 60, man. That's it. So
All
your
60 people.
your
That
secret's safe.
That's what I was gonna say. That makes me feel a little better.
until next week when I start putting the clips out. But
right.
all right, sounds
That's
like you got your stuff going on here. So let's hear
sweet.
it. What's going on?
So I mean, it started when it started earlier last year, and I went to film something, and I couldn't talk to the camera. So I came to Asheville, and I had scheduled all this stuff. Things get you commit to all these things, and before you know it, it's like there's so much going on, it's hard to even keep up. So I came to Asheville just for a month, and I had trying to cram it all into a month. I have a ton of friends here. I'm trying to see everyone since I'm going to be gone the rest of the year. I'm trying to do a massive renovation of my van. I'm trying to do a project with Seth. I'm trying to I had my mom come visit. There's like all this stuff. Oh, and it was my brother and my best friend's birthday, their 30th. So like they came up, and it's like, so I had a whole lot going on, and then we started hitting time crunch. And anyway, I went to go film something, and for the first time ever, I looked at the camera and like I just couldn't talk. And I was so anxious that I just couldn't talk. And that was like the first thing that was like okay, I gotta kind of like pay attention here. I'm getting spread too thin,
Yeah.
And that's really what it is I've gone for 4 years. And it's no different than anything else. YouTube, it's like anyone that's trying to start a small business. The only way to get it off the ground and going is by putting your nose to the grindstone and not looking up. And that's what the last 4 years of my life was. And if you don't, some people never remember to lift their head back up. I think. But I didn't want to be like that. So and for like even more context, it's like if you look at my life before that, and that's what I've been doing a lot, is thinking about my life beforehand. It was so completely different. I was living out of my car. I was on the road. I was always a stranger to everyone. No one knew who I was. And my life was dead simple. Dead simple. A lot because I was dirt poor. When you're dirt poor, your life becomes dead simple. And the main thing you think about is money, and that's like the only thing you have to think about. Everything else is like a lot of decisions are made for you, and therefore it like comes down to like, where do I want to go ride? So that was my life for a really long time, and that was like some of the happiest that I've ever been, is when I kept things like really, really, truly simple. And now, and then, but the main thing I thought about, the main problem with that, is that I was always worried about money. Money was always the thing. Is like, how do I continue living this life? How do I stay on the road indefinitely? And thus, once, that wasn't even why I started the YouTube, but once the YouTube caught on, then that was like, oh wait, maybe this could be it.
Here's the answer. Here's the answer I've been looking for a long time.
Right. So between that moment and 4 years later, I never really lifted my head up and evaluated the direction and what the way I was doing things. And so I really needed that. I really needed to take time to do that, because my life had changed so much. It's like I'm an introvert, and which it might be hard to discern that from someone watching a video of me mountain biking, because that's when I'm like the most outgoing. But it takes a lot of adjustment to go from being a complete stranger and like just worrying about your own thing, to being someone that people know. And it's like, I go out into public and I never know when someone's going to recognize me. And like, I think about that, and just at the randomest times, and so stuff like that. And then also things like everything you do is now scrutinized. And I came from like Zero. You sure I can cuss? I don't want to get you demonetized.
Yeah, no, dude, you do whatever you want, man. I got shirts, dude, that say demonetized on them. I think I'm okay with it.
Okay, yeah. So I came from years of like my entire mantra was like zero fucks. I
no
could
fucks
care
given,
less,
right?
none at all. I'm gonna do me, and I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. And now I find myself, I'm like, everything I do, hundreds of thousands of people see, and it's like they pick it apart. And so it's just a massive life shift. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it does take a lot of adjustment. And I hadn't really taken time to kind of acknowledge that and look at the differences and like ask myself, are there any things that you want to change? Is this how you want to proceed? Are you going to be happy with that when you look back a few years down the line? So
it's funny because, last time we were talking when I listened to her podcast, and we were talking about, doing YouTube full time and like what that meant for me. And you had asked me like, hey, you're taking something fun and turning it into a job. You sure, like, is that a good thing or not? And were you already maybe starting to kind of deal with that a little bit as like, man, am I screwing up this thing that I love at that point?
No, it's never been about, I love going and filming mountain biking. It's I think this is partially why it's so tough, is because it really is kind of like a gray area. It's like it's a more complex thing than that totally. Simple of a, because people ask that question a lot. No, I love making videos about mountain biking. It totally doesn't impede on my enjoyment of it. I mean, I love the idea of sharing it because mountain biking changed my life so much. That was always the impetus for the channel. It's like mountain biking made a humongous difference in my life, and I wanted to share that with other people.
Yeah, totally.
So no, it wasn't back then. It was once things started growing and becoming and things started moving so fast that I started getting spread so thin, because you start growing and that's what you want, and then more opportunities come and that's what you want. But if you never take any time to adjust all of that, then you end up becoming spread thin and not being able to sustain it.
I did my channel for the first 2 years, like working a full-time job on top of it. I mean, I still work a full-time job on top of it, but I was putting easily 40 to 60 hours a week on my channel. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's not all editing. It was like, building these logos, building
all
this
sorts of random stuff,
just weird shit that has nothing to do with anything that anybody will ever freaking know. You know what I mean? Like, people don't understand that it could take you an hour and a half to find the song that you want to use in a song in a video.
Gosh,
it's
song.
like, so,
oh my goodness.
Like, sometimes I just think to myself, why can't I just pick one like Seth does and just use it all the time?
No, no. Seth spends just as much time finding his music.
Yeah.
Sure, he has like that one song that he has that song, but that's like his theme song at this point.
Yeah.
But we were in here editing the other night, and neither one of us, normally we have all the music picked out before we actually start editing. Neither one of us had all the music picked out. So there came a time when it was like 2 a.m. and we both got to the spot in our timeline. We were like, oh, God damn it. I don't have the song for this.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have to go. You have to like start digging through. And just like you said, man, sometimes it can take like an hour and a half to find the one song.
I've done an edit before where I got almost done with the edit, and then went back, and then this one song, I was like, this just gives it the wrong vibe. Like, it just doesn't feel good. Like, I like the song, it sounds good, but it doesn't work with this. And then I had to go find another song, which took forever. And then like all of my edit cut points were like in back beats or down beats of the song. So it was like, oh man, it was so
brutal.
You just want to punch somebody.
It's so demoralizing.
So the point of what I was getting at was, like, I was putting a lot of time into the channel, and at about two years or so, maybe it was 2.5 years, like I just burned out, man. I burned out completely. And it wasn't like you were saying a minute ago, like love making videos and I love sharing videos. I love mountain biking. I actually don't care about wearing the camera. It doesn't bother me stopping to change batteries.
Yep.
Like other people complain about it. And I'm like, dude, I don't care, man. It's like, whatever. But it just got to the point where I was like, I couldn't talk myself into editing. I just be like, find something else to do, find something else to do. That's actually why I originally started the Biker Bar, because it was like, I'm either going to completely quit doing YouTube or at least I can do this. I'm just on the camera for a couple hours. I got a little bit of thumbnail work to do and some stuff after that. And I can shorten this amount of time that I'm spending down to like a few hours a week and keep myself relevant with the community, but not like
and still have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I had to like get my life together on what was important to me other than YouTube, you know? And it was like, basically YouTube was the only thing that was important to me for a long time. And not that my family or whatever doesn't matter, but it's just like, it's just one of those things where it sounds like, you know, you're a focused person, like I am, like Seth is, like whoever. I think all of us that are doing this are like that, you know, like you have to be like one of those like 120% people. Otherwise you won't do it. You'll just be like, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, it just, I did the Biker Bar for a while, and then it was like, okay, I'm ready. I got my shit together again. And now I'm just like, my release schedule is like, I'm doing one video a month. If it's more than that, it's more than that. If it's not, I'm not stressing. Like a month is plenty of time for me not to stress. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like fortunately, like what it's done is like, I've definitely I feel like, hey, if I'm only putting one video out a month, I'm like making this a really good video. And man, my subscriber numbers have been like really showing it. So I think that's
amazing. People forget that what people really want is enjoyable content, like good content. And it's like the rule of thumb that everyone forgets. It's so easy they get caught up in finding some sort of brand deals and working with sponsors and in like where you're going to go or who you're going to meet. But in the end, all it comes down to is if you make a good video, people are going to want to watch it. It's literally that simple. And everything else is just kind of like peripheral, like, you know, how often you upload. That does matter, but YouTube makes sure that matters. But I think I relate to you. We probably relate to each other a lot in regards to that experience. And there's two main things that I have thought about, or like the summaries of my experience, the like 2 months that I took off. And it was that I realized the thing that was bumming me out so much is that I realized I had let my passion for success on YouTube become the leading, the protagonist of my life. And that really bummed me out. That it made me mad actually, because I want to be the protagonist of my life, and I want to be driving decisions and doing things that I want to do. And YouTube, the whole idea of YouTube always was to share that stuff with people. But I have to it has to come from within first. Like I need to find things that I'm passionate about doing, the things I want to do, not the things that I think are going to get me the most views on YouTube, or the things that are going to be successful there. So it's a big shift, and I'm really trying to get back to, because that was what started in the first place, is that I was leading the life that I wanted to lead. And it made me extremely excited, and I was like really passionate about it. And then I started sharing it. And then somewhere along the line, things shifted.
Yeah, I felt like, you know, at the beginning too, I was like really trying to get better on every video. I was trying to get better. And I realized that I wasn't trying to get better. I was just like doing the same thing over and over again. Right. You know, and it was like, because I was so concerned about getting the video out on the schedule or whatever. And then if I was missing it, I was like carrying all this guilt around that I didn't hit the schedule the way I wanted to, which is a self-imposed schedule. You know what I mean? And it's like, but once
it's self-imposed, then you got all these people online that are also expecting it.
Well, and then it was like, once I didn't hit it, then instead of that motivating me more to hit it, it would motivate me less to hit it then. Because it was like, oh, I missed it. And now I feel bad that I missed it. And now I don't want to do it because I missed it. And it's like,
right.
It just would turn into this thing where it was like, the same thing is like if when you get injured and you're like, or you need a break. And instead of telling everybody you need a break, you're like, I'll just skip a week. And then the week goes by and you're like, well, all I thought about was that I didn't do the video and I didn't tell anybody. So then it's like, you're just like burying yourself, where if like you took the break, but you didn't get a break because you were just stressed out that you didn't tell anybody. It's like, so if you just
totally,
I would say that would be my best bet or best advice to anybody that's like in the middle of a channel growth period right now, is like, if you need a break, just tell everybody. Like, don't feel bad if it's a month. Just tell them. Just come out, make a video, be like, dude, I'm splitting for a month. That way you can just like let it all out and be like done with it.
And you know what's going to happen if you do that? Your audience is going to be like, sweet, dude, go enjoy the time. Like you need it. Like you do what you need. Like the audience, everyone's going to be, the community is going to be behind you.
Yeah.
The whole problem is what is in our head and what we're thinking. You know, it's like you're afraid to do that. So, and I did the exact same thing. I never intended on taking any time off. I would have just said that. I would have said it, but I never did, and I kept doing exactly what you're saying, and it just got worse and worse because you taking time off, but it's not time off because all you're doing is agonizing about the fact that you should be putting something out there. So it's just terrible. It's horrible, man. That's so funny.
It's such a common thing too, you know. It's like, that's the one thing that I think it's important for some of us that are in this space to talk about, because there's so many other people out there trying to do this, you know, on top of their job and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, this is normal, man. Like nobody tells you when you start your YouTube channel that you're going to be stressed about something like that, you know. Like, so
I don't think it's reserved to YouTubers though. I think this is like I think everyone does stuff like this.
No, that's true.
Like
that's
no matter in regular, like in anyone else's job, your family life, it's like everyone, you know. I'm trying to think of another time when I've done it. Okay, so like back in school, if you're like putting off if you're putting off a paper, so like you think you're gonna do the paper, and the whole time you're not actually doing the paper, but you are agonizing about the fact that you should be doing the paper. And then eventually you end up going and getting an extension from your professor anyway. And it's like, well, why didn't I actually just go have fun the whole last week and, you know, like ask for this extension earlier or something, you know?
Just beat yourself up the whole time.
Or not have fun, but like most of the time it was like you had something else, another project or another paper, another class. It's like, why didn't you just go ask this one professor so that you could actually do the other one properly and then come back? It's like, I don't know, communication. It's hard.
Such is life, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
for sure, man.
So let's change gears, man. So you got this badass van, which I keep trying to figure out how I can put that into my life, a van. But I want to know what you miss about Sheila.
Ooh, I do miss Sheila.
I knew you did. There's no way you couldn't, man.
It's the simplicity. I miss the simplicity. It was just like, it's like when I was dirt poor, all your decisions are made for you already. It's like I can't go park anywhere I want. I got to go find a spot where I can put my tent, you know. It's like I can't buy anything because I got no room for anything, you know. It's like I can't fit another bike on there. I can't bring anyone else in there. You know, it's like you're very limited, but it's also simple. So
you had a lot. Go ahead.
I also had her very, very, very organized.
So not so much in the van.
The van, there's all this space, so I don't have to be. You know?
You're like, I got my own country now, man. This thing is great. It's so big.
Things can be just anywhere, and it's going to be fine in there.
So I would imagine that some of it too was
gas mileage.
I'm sure that's a big one, right? I would imagine some of it too is probably like, then you didn't have like a release schedule, or like you could just go like pal around with this friend for a while, or like when you were in Sheila, like it was before you even were really doing the channel, right?
Well, yeah, I was living out of my car. I was kind of living out of my car for maybe 4 years or something before I actually came out west. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this was it was all kind of a gradual thing, because I was working, I was going like the very traditional route down in Florida before all this. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started making like gradual steps to branch out of that as I slowly realized that that I didn't want to. And also that it was possible to not do that,
Mm-hmm.
that there are other ways. You don't, when you're in your little bubble in, Tampa, Florida, and every single person, everyone that in your family and all your friends are doing this traditional route, you don't know that there's other people out there doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I slowly realized, like, moved to Atlanta and started working at an REI. Big eye opener, meeting people in the outdoor industry and that did all sorts of other things. Like, these people are going out and climbing mountains on their free time. It's like, these
Yeah.
people, they open your eyes. And so, like, after that, I started doing, I got even further into the outdoor industry, started going and working my summers at like the Nantahala Outdoor Center, this whitewater place. And I ran the bike stuff. And and then I started just kind of like going up and down the Southeast coast. And I would just do seasonal stuff. So I was living out of Sheila then. I was crashing at a lot of friends' houses during that period, of course. Yeah, and it was only later that I actually finally jetted out west, because that was like the big scary thing. I knew no one out there yet because I had never been out there. So
That's pretty fun, man. That's definitely like, I have it in me, but it's always other things in my life that are keeping me from being able to do that. So maybe one of these days,
do the van life.
yeah, just like to be a vagabond like that, like,
Yeah,
I've tried to talk my lady into it a few times, and she's like, no, we have to have home base. I'm like, so like, what amount of time are you okay with? I'm like, 30 days. She's like, yeah, I could do 30 days. I'm like, so
hey man, 30 days is great.
I'm like, so like, to me, I'm like 60, like,
yeah, right.
So it's just, I don't know. I think for me, it's that's probably part of the reason that I really enjoyed watching your channel from the very beginning, was like, it's just something where it's like, man, I would like to just live free, ride hard, and be stoked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I know what you mean, man.
yeah.
It's a good way to be.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, life is just simple that way, when you're doing like something you're passionate about. And so you've been locked up in the Seth Bike Hacks house. And
yeah, man, that he never unlocks the doors. I can't get out of here.
He's got one of those play fences for you, like he puts Oscar in, he just sticks Alex in there. He's like, I can't get out.
No, it's in here. It's in here. This is it. I don't know how to open these garage doors over here.
Right. So when where are you itching to go whenever this is all lifted? Let's just say tomorrow, like they were like, world's back on, get to it.
Man. Oh, I've been itching to go back to Colorado. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in Colorado in the fall now, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, because now it's been 2 years since I've been back there.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, before all this started, before all the coronavirus stuff started, I did think I was going to end up going back into Canada. Although I was thinking a different route. Yeah. I was actually planning to go up the East Coast of the States and go into, check out Quebec, where Brian always raves about, and like check out Montana and then do like, and I wanted to check out Newfoundland too. I've been thinking about more like off the beaten path stuff.
Yeah.
Like doing more exploration, because that's my other passion. Like what I love to do is like is explore the unknown.
Yeah. I feel like those rides are the best rides too, man.
They really are.
Yeah, when I go somewhere, like even if it's by myself, it's like the first time and you're just like trying to figure out the trail system or you're following this map and you're just, I don't know, it's just like everything's so much better. Like the downhill's 3 miles longer, like the uphill doesn't suck as bad because you're by yourself or whatever. You're just like, dude, I don't even care. I'm gonna stop here and take pictures of its flower,
Yeah, right. Yeah, they've always got that good vibe to them. And it's funny because like you'll go ride that again, or like if you're there by yourself and you go discover a place. Like I've done this so many times. You go and you ride it and it feels like such an adventure because you have no idea where you are relative to anything else. You got no idea what to expect. And then you come back a second time once you like have your mind around the area and you're there with like locals, and all of a sudden it feels like it's like not even off the beaten path, and it's like everyone knows about it, and like it's no longer like this big adventure. I love not knowing. It's so good that way.
Yeah, no, it's super fun. It's definitely some of my more memorable days, which may have been just like crappy days as far as like didn't get many miles in, didn't know where, just like everything went wrong.
Get lost.
They just stick out though. You're like, that was still fun, man. It was a good day, man. I enjoyed being in that position. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it,
It's magical, man. It's magical.
So you said Colorado in the fall. I really want to go to Colorado. Where should I go?
In the fall?
I don't care whenever it is.
If it's in the fall, you should go to Crested Butte.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like the Crusty Butte.
Somebody says like north or this range, that range. There's like you guys got some slang of like your geographical areas in Colorado. It's like
the biggest so like across the middle of Colorado is I-70. It's I'm pretty sure it's I-70, right?
It's not 80?
See, 2 years. You forget it might be 50. Maybe it's 50.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, there's an interstate that goes straight across the middle.
Right.
And it goes right through the mountains. So that's the one. And it goes from Fruita on the Utah side to Denver on the other side and the airport. And that's like the main way you get around. And that's where all the big mountain ski resorts are. That's where Aspen is and Breckenridge and all those things. And then underneath this, so this is like the high part of the mountains. If you go around and you go underneath them, then you're on the south side of the mountains. And that is where Crested Butte is tucked up in there. And Salida is a little bit is underneath there as well.
All right. I'm gonna do something fancy here. We're gonna do this.
The main way that people, or that I hear people talking about Colorado, is simply east slope, west slope. So it's the desert side and then the front range side. So Denver and Boulder, Colorado is the front range or the east slope. Fruita, Grand Junction, Telluride, and Durango are the west slope.
So Crested Butte's kind of like in the middle of that, though.
It's like almost dead middle, actually.
Yeah. I'm looking at the map right now. So it's definitely. So what is it that you say that's the place to be? Why is
because the leaves, the fall of that place is just insane. It's just like beautiful. You can't believe your eyes when you wake up there and it's like overcast and maybe slightly raining and you go out for a ride and there's like these insane low clouds floating in between the mountains. It's just the most mind-blowing thing you've ever seen.
Oh, you sold me on it.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah. No, it sounds good, dude. I really want to get over there. I got a buddy that lives in Colorado Springs too. I think that's closer to Denver, isn't it?
Yep. So Colorado Springs is like the first stop. If you go from Denver and you're starting to head southwest. So if you don't take the middle road, the I-70, there's one that goes down south that basically you go through like Colorado Springs and then you hit Salida. And then you go and you hit Gunnison, which is just below Crested Butte, and then you can continue across. That's one of my favorite drives ever. Yeah. I love that drive. You drive next to this really, really crazy pretty lake after you pass Gunnison, and it's a really cool drive.
What is it about Colorado that it's like got the sweet spot for you? Is it just because like you have so many different kind of environments there where it's like kind of desert in some spots and some spots it's like pine? And
I think that is what it is.
Yeah.
I grew up in Florida, so you have to drive like 7 hours just to get out of the state, and it's all the same.
Yeah, yeah.
And in Colorado, you when you drive around every 30 minutes, things look completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. Whether you're going up a mountain and you're at the bottom and you're going up the mountain, or you're going from the high, it's like you're in snow and in the high mountains, and then like you get spit out down at the bottom, and all of a sudden you're in the desert. It's like things are constantly changing, and you can just have different experiences every single day, like vastly different experiences.
Yeah.
And that's really appealing to me. I like variety.
Yeah, totally. So Salida is kind of like your spot where it seems like you have friends and you used to work there and stuff.
I have friends and I used to work there, but it's not like it's been a little while though.
Yeah. If you were going back to Salida, what would be like the first 2 or 3 trails that you rode?
Monarch Crest. I would dip off on Fooses, and then I would shuttle back up and ride maybe Agate. So these are the Monarch Crest is like a really epic trail. It's like you can drive your car all the way up to the top of the Monarch Pass, which is super pretty. And it's like at 12,000 feet, so it's way up there.
Oh wow, man, that's up there.
It's crazy, and they've got a lodge and everything. And then you get on your bike and you pedal up. You go up like another maybe the pass is at 11,000 feet. But anyway, you pedal up another like 1,000 feet.
Good.
And then you're at the top, and it's like, that's one of the trails that's like one of the rides I'll never forget, because that was one of my first rides in Colorado. And you get on top of a 12,000 foot, 13,000 foot mountain, and it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like actually mind blowing.
Yeah, no.
The vastness and you're most of the time you're completely alone.
Yeah.
And you're so exposed to the elements.
Yeah, you're definitely feeling it, man. Even physically though, too. It's we did a ride. We've done a couple that are around here where you'll peak around 10,000, let's just say, which is,
that's
I know
super high.
Once you get over like 8,500 feet, man, I can be in pretty damn good shape down at sea level. But once you hit like 8,500 feet, it's just like, it's a slog, man. It is a slog for like, you're looking at it's such a mind fuck too. Cause it's like, you're looking at the hill, maybe where you're riding and you're like, this is not that steep, but you're like, I am dying trying to just like push my pedal, and when you get off, you're like maybe it's just some little rock that normally you just like pop over, it'd be nothing. And you're like, screw it, I'm walking,
Or you actually try the thing, and it's like in at the end of this simple maneuver, you're like dying, you're like trying to catch your breath frantically. Right. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I get anxiety when I get up super high too, like that, because then I start like freaking out. I'm like, what if I pass out? It's like, dude, shut up, man. Just ride your damn bike already.
So anything with heights, you're not about, even not even just like exposure, but even just being up really high, you don't even like that.
No, I think for that, it's more like just being way out in the middle of nowhere. Like I just get kind of like freaked out. Like there's a really interesting story that like kind of draws it all back in, but I'm not sure I want to go down that path right now. But yeah, but that the short of it, like really with the heights, like a lot of times for me, it's mostly exposure, but sometimes some of those views where like, even like say you're standing somewhere where you're not exposed, but just looking at that like vast, huge thing that everybody's like, this is beautiful. I look at it and I'm like, I just want to get the fuck out of here.
That's so funny, man. We're like, totally different.
I want to like take it in. And sometimes I can, but other times I'm just like, I'll get it on camera. I'll look at it later and I'll be like, that was beautiful up there.
Like, man, I should have cracked the beer and hung out.
Right. It's just like, I feel like, oh man, it's just funny. It's silly too.
I don't think you're in the minority. I think most people feel that way. Like most of the people that I talk to, because I always have the same reaction. I'm like, I'm completely opposite.
Yeah.
And And I feel kind of justified in my way, because when I'm in somewhere like that, I feel so safe
Yeah.
and at peace,
Yeah.
because to me, I feel like you do on top of the mountain when I'm in the middle of a bunch of people in a city.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that's the hands down the more dangerous spot. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I hear
you
you.
don't know what like people are much more fickle than Mother Nature. Like me being on top of the mountain, yeah, I understand. Weather storms can come in fast, and yeah, there are bears and stuff. But like, I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, I sit down out there and I feel I could lay down, take a nap, and know be perfectly fine with it. You know?
Yeah. I could be fine like 500 feet from the peak that I was just standing at.
Hmm.
It's
So you're
just
talking about
like,
like the very tip top.
yeah, yeah. It's like whenever I'm up there, I'm like, oh man. Like there
Well,
was
that's a lot of the time
that
it's
one that I was
nasty,
just talking
windy.
about. Yeah, it gets nasty, and I don't know. It's funny. It's funny, like how you can be completely logical with yourself, but in the
Right.
moment of something like that, you just like
Yeah.
you're trying to talk yourself through it, and you're like, this is pointless, you know?
Yeah. Our minds aren't exactly logical and rational all the time.
Right. Let's talk about something that's not rational. So I've been wondering how much of a super chat would you have to get to like shave the beard off? What's the number that if
No,
some like
there is
there's no
no such
number?
number. No way, Jose.
There's got to be like if somebody like was like, dude, here's 50 grand shaved it. Like, would
Sure.
you
50
like
grand.
where is the number? There's got to be a cutoff, right? Is it
I
10?
guess I don't know, man. I guess the fact that the 50 grand sounded pretty insane. So I don't know. Maybe there is a number, and I just haven't ever considered it.
You
But
haven't
here's the
got there
thing.
yet.
I got to be honest with you. This is what I'm thinking. This is what goes through my head. If I have never shaved my beard or my hair online, then I can still have anonymity at some point.
Uh-huh.
That's where my what I that's like what I think.
I
So
was
like
doing
the moment I shave my beard and everyone knows what I look like without a beard and long hair, I'll never have anonymity again.
That's funny. I saw a picture of you somewhere with short hair. I can't remember where it was.
I posted it at the end of a video once.
Is that I want to say it was like a research thing. I was like looking you up maybe before the last time that we chatted, and I saw some picture. I was like, damn. Because I want to say you were clean shaven in the picture too, because you had more like a short kind of like a normal guy haircut kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, don't tell anybody it's out there.
I don't even remember what I look like without a beard. Like I also part of it, I'm like kind of scared to shave it now. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna shave it and I'm gonna look at my face and I'm gonna be like, man, you got old.
Maybe you'll think you just look super young. You're like, oh my God, I took all this years off.
I might have a baby face too. That's also a possibility.
Right? See?
I just have no idea what's underneath here.
I I don't have any attachment to my facial hair. I think it's just because like I'm like a chia pet, man. You just like put daylight on it and it grows right back, you know? So usually what happens with mine is I like screw up trimming it and then I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like,
I know how
at
that
least yours
goes.
is long enough where it's like I feel like you could like screw up a little bit and you're just just take another ½ inch off and then you're good.
Oh, for sure. I do that, man. Like I used to keep my beard a lot longer. I mean, recently I had it trimmed like super short at one point. And I mean that wasn't because of mess up, that was because it was getting hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, generally my beard is quite a bit longer. So there's room for mistakes.
That's funny. You know
There's
what?
gotta be.
This kind of ties in. I pulled up an old picture from your Instagram,
Uh-oh.
and I'm gonna throw it up there on the screen. And it's for those of you guys that are listening, it's Alex sitting out in the woods, and he's got like a big, huge thing of moss where his beard should be, and he just says something like, "I do love goofing around in the forest." What was going on here? What was the deal?
I was actually out just on a random hike with my buddy Chance. And it wasn't even like on a trail. This is one of those days we didn't even know where we were. So it was so awesome. So we were up somewhere near Boone, North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And we had gone out rock climbing. We had gone out bouldering, and we we climbed for a little bit, and then on our way back, the sun was setting, and I looked above us and I saw this like huge rock ledge. I was like, yo, stop the car. Let's grab a couple beers, get up there and watch the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did, but there was no trail. So we were like severe bushwhacking. Mm-hmm. And that's where this happened. This was on the way up. And we were it was like steep, and we were slipping around all over the place. We were getting, hit in the face with bushes and all this stuff. And we never ended up making it to that cliff.
Oh, really? Never made it?
No, but we had a ton of fun in the process. We had a ton of fun. We ended up getting back to the car and just setting up the crash pad and drinking a beer on the side of the road, gravel road somewhere. Yeah. It was a great day. It was a fantastic day.
That's awesome. Good.
That's my favorite type of stuff. Just spontaneous, random, middle of nowhere, don't know where you are. Go for a walk in the woods.
I mean, we said that earlier. It's definitely it's something to do about the adventure. I think that's probably one of the reasons I first started getting into mountain biking, was just the adventure portion of it. Yeah, especially when you first start, it's like every trail's a new trail, right?
Right.
So
and there's unlimited room for improvement too. Right. So that's exciting.
Yeah. What would be something that you would tell a new rider as a piece of advice?
Oh man, God, there's so much. I would say the first thing I'd say is just take it easy. It's like, I think that there's a lot of pressure out there to progress, for whether it's for Instagram or, just because you're friends, because no one is ever at the same skill level. Most of the time when people get brought into mountain biking, it's through a friend. And therefore, naturally, you're behind. Whoever that is that just got brought in is behind. So I'd say don't feel pressured to go too hard, too fast, because, it's just incremental gains, and you'll get there.
That's similar to what I usually go about telling people, because some of my people that I really looked up to that taught me things on how to ride were just like super chill. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was like, I always try to tell people like, look, man, this isn't a race. We're out here to have fun. Like if you see something that scares you and you feel like you need to walk, do that. Because like, it's much better for you to walk through that and then ride next week instead of try something that you're not capable of yet. Yeah. And like, don't trip that, like you're holding us up, dude. I'm just happy to be outside. Like,
I think the peer thing is a huge part of it all, because the other thing is like, mountain biking is a little bit different than certain other things that you do outdoors, like rafting, for instance. Mm-hmm. Like if you're whitewater rafting, you can be with someone that's experienced, but you guys are all in the same boat, so the experienced person can kind of bail you out. When you're on a mountain bike, you are completely on your own, and no matter what the other person on the other bike is telling you, you are the only one affected by your actions, for good or bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So you got to keep that. You got to keep that in mind. You got to know that you are the end person that needs to make the end judgment call. No one else can make it for you. It's up to you, and you got to take that responsibility.
It's crazy. The more that you ride, the more that like how far you get away from being a new rider. And let me try to explain.
It is
like we just recently took out somebody over the weekend that it's like, for all intents and purposes, is their first ride. Mm-hmm. And it's just like this trail that to me is like, there's not anything on there that you could possibly be scared of.
Oh my God, it's so narrow.
Or they're like, there's a berm and they're like, I don't know how to do that. And then they're like, oh, it seems like there's a big drop. And I'm like, there's not, I'm afraid of heights. That's not a drop. It's just like, it's all these things though, where you're like, man, you get so far away from it, and it's in complete levels. It's like, there's even trails that I used to think were super hard that now, then 6 months or a year from then, they're like easy to me. But even compared to what I'm looking at and thinking hard now is like still like way far away from that. It's just like, it's kind of crazy. I know when I was going through your Instagram, there was like a picture of you hitting some jump, and it was like, this guy's boosting shit way bigger than Matt right now. But I'm pretty sure that when you posted that picture, you were like, dude, I hit it, I cleared that tabletop or whatever it was, like,
oh, really?
Yeah. What'd that feel like whenever you were doing that stuff up in Canada?
Oh my God, dude. That was insane. Like I still look at that stuff. It was so beyond what I ever expected myself to be able to do on a mountain bike that I still look back at it and I can't believe that I was doing it.
How do you get
like just thinking about it? Thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God. I get scared just thinking about doing it again. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that I would just get there and do it again.
Is it the bike? Is it the practice? Like, what is it that gets you there? Because I'm not a guy that's go ahead.
No, you're not a guy
I'm not a guy that's like really wants to do big jumps, but I could see myself getting into it. You know what I mean? Like, like it's not on my radar, but I could see like going somewhere like that, following some people down, all of a sudden being like, oh, this tabletop's getting easier. And next thing you know, I'm like, freaking, let's send it.
So that's the attitude that you have to have, basically.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned is you have to have that attitude, that you have to have like the go for it, like bike park attitude. I think about it, it's like when you're in a bike park, everyone is like, let's send it.
Yeah.
So it's impossible for you not to be in that vibe. You got to be like in that like aggressive, we're going for it vibe to hit stuff like that. I think that's how you do it. That's certainly how Seth got me on Dirt Merchant. Like if I had actually walked all of Dirt Merchant, I don't know if I would have done it.
Yeah.
We walked quite a bit of it, but I mean, I don't know. I still look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh. There comes a point in time, I'll tell you this. There comes a point in time in jumps where you have, at least I have no concept of just how high I'm going. Because I look at clips and I'm like, what? I was how high in the air?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. So what was it? Was it just like you're riding a DH bike and like the just like progression, or?
It's progression. It's all progression. Yeah. For the longest stretch of time in my life, that like leading up to that, I had the longest stretch of not crashing.
Yeah.
And it was because I really slowed things down and did like really incremental, just never went ham. I never had prior, like early in my mountain bike life, I tried to make these gigantic leaps in progression and I always got wrecked. I was telling Seth earlier, I tried learning drops like really new as a mountain biker, and I had no concept of the fact that like I looked at the drop, I was like, okay, the mountain right below it is like 6 feet. I didn't ever think about the fact that I'm jumping off of it in this direction, and it's like the further you get away, the higher it gets. It's like it doubles the height, So I broke my arm trying this drop.
Oops.
Yeah. And I had no business doing this anything near that. So recently and as I get older, I get a little bit wiser, and I've been slowing things down and doing it more. Two things. I've been going slower I've been moving in slower increments. It's crazy what you can achieve if you do small increments. Like you go to a place like Duthie Hill and they've got these drops, and one's this high and the other one is just barely higher. Yeah. And then the other one is just barely higher. And then the other one is just barely higher. So the difference between here and here is nothing, but the difference between here and there was huge. But if you've done the two that are in between, the difference feels like nothing.
I've seen guys post pictures of those type of places online. I'm always like, man, I wish we had something like that around here, because it's like to be able to like step up and then be able to, because once you do something like that, like you can always like go back to that in your head and be like, is this rock as big as that? Like I know there's like certain rock rolls that I've done up in Tahoe where I'm like, it was this steep, and I'm like, so I go and look at something else and I'm like, oh, it's about like that one. I'm going to stand up there. It's going to look way steeper and way higher when you're on the top, but I've done this before. You know what I mean? Like,
I totally know what you mean. The more time you have under your belt with mountain biking, the more things that you've ridden, the more features you've seen,
Yeah.
the bigger the encyclopedia that you have to draw on becomes. And I totally think that that also is a big part of it, because then you can progress faster and faster, because you're comparing. That's why I do everything now. I'm
Yeah.
always comparing. I'm like, this is approximately the size of this other thing that I've done. It'll be chill, or it'll feel
Mhm.
like this, you know, and that helps a ton. And the other thing I do is, like, I've just become a lot better at listening to myself and no
Yeah.
one else. It's like I don't ever I like swallow my pride at the drop of a heartbeat,
Yeah.
like at the drop of a hat. It's like it's not a big deal. If I can't hit something, I'm not even worried about it anymore. It's like some days you just aren't feeling it. It's not that you wouldn't. It's just
Yeah.
like some days I'm not feeling it, and I don't push myself to do that anymore. I don't try to like get over that
Yeah.
fact that day. I accept it, and I go back another time, and that has saved me a lot of headache, I think.
Have you done all the features there in Burn Peak?
No, no,
Which
I
one's
have
got your
not.
which one's got your number?
So there's a few that I haven't done. And I'm actually going to make a video about this, because it's like becoming such a big thing in my head. It's going to be crazy. So like I haven't done the mainframe. I haven't done the snake pit gap. Um, I guess I've done pretty much everything else now. Because
Uh-huh.
the first thing I did was the whale tail when I got here. Like we were building that, and I did the whale. Oh no, I had to do the Kevin jump first. So I had to
Yeah.
do the Kevin jump in order to do the whale tail,
Uh-huh.
and yeah. But
So the
I
Kevin
just
jump seems like it's a little from online seems like it's a little more sketchy than the what's the one in the logs, all the trees there. You just said it a second ago. The
that's the
snake
whale
pit.
tail.
No,
Oh,
the
the
snake
snake.
pit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The snakes. The
Because you got to jump over the
stump
tree, right?
cemetery. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, screw that. But you're
Yeah.
riding on a skinny is the thing. That's the thing that gets me, man.
Dude,
I don't
Seth
think I
just
like
has a
skinnies.
screw loose, doesn't he?
He's so confident on skinnies. He can just look ahead and he's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I seen him like roll through that new one on the last video, and the first thing out of your mouth was like, "Dude, you went so fast!"
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was holding the camera and I just couldn't even hold my mouth. I was like, what? Because when you build a feature, no one has ever hit that before.
Right,
We had never hit it. We never seen anyone hit it. We have no
right,
idea what to expect.
right.
And that dude, he just dropped in and he didn't even sound like he would put on his brakes. I was like, what just happened? I'm not going that fast.
Right.
I don't know much, but I know that much.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, I have not hit that. I've tried to roll into it, that snake pit
Uh-huh.
gap, and because of because of the way things are, COVID, and I'm not going to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
anything that like puts me in peril. I just made the call, and that's the perfect example.
yeah,
Seth was right there, and
yeah.
I was doing run-ins, and I got back to the back, and I went to go do another run-in, and I was standing there for forever. I was like trying to envision it, and I couldn't, and I just like, I'm not doing it. I just
Yeah.
said, I'm not doing it today. He was like, all right, yeah, good call. So,
Right
um,
on.
yeah, in the mainframe, I don't really know how that one's gonna go either. I think I've seen too many people crash on these things that it gets in my head.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing where they tell you like envision yourself doing it, and then you're like, yeah, but I can see all these other people not.
Right, right. Oh, hey, you want to know another fantastic recommendation for new riders?
What's that?
Don't watch fail videos.
Yeah.
Never watch. No, I'm dead serious though. It's not even a joke. It's like it gets in your head. You start,
Yeah.
instead of envisioning yourself succeeding at mountain biking at certain features, your brain starts remembering how people have failed at stuff like that, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where you think. If you're not envisioning success, you're in trouble.
I think that's one of the reasons I always think I don't want to jump, because I'm like, I've seen too many people. Everybody that's jumping online, they make it on Pink Bike every Friday. You know?
Fail videos are detrimental to our community's progression.
So you mentioned earlier that you broke your arm trying to do that drop, and we've seen some
Uh-huh.
injuries on the channel.
Uh-huh.
What's the worst injury in your riding experience?
Man, worst injury I've ever had was actually like one of my very first mountain bike rides.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Oh my gosh, I tore my ACL.
Oh shit! Let's hear the
Yeah,
story.
right.
There's got to be a good story here, right?
Oh, it's a fantastic story. There's so many red flags. So I had just started mountain biking, and I can't remember if I actually had my own mountain bike at this time. I think I did. I think I had like a cheap mountain bike, my first mountain bike, and I was living in Florida at the time, so I got into it like at my own as like a senior in college. I started mountain biking when I stopped playing soccer, and basically every weekend I would just research, and there wasn't any of the trails down there. It was just there was Alafaya, and then there was like almost nothing else. So I was like online trying to find where I could just go ride a mountain bike. And I would just drive and explore because there was no trail forks. There was none of these apps, or at least I didn't know of any. So, so anyway, one of my brothers went to high school in North Carolina, and we ended up going up a couple of years later. We went up to his graduation, and because they were in North Carolina, him and some of his friends had gone mountain biking, and so while I was up there, my brother was like, yo, you gotta come, let's go mountain bike. You won't believe these trails. I've never ridden anything outside of Florida at this point.
Right.
So, okay. So he gives me a loaner bike from one of his friends, and it is just in terrible shape. I felt horrible on it. I got on it and I knew, I was like, I shouldn't be riding this. I feel so out of sorts. Like, it just felt very weird. I don't remember the specifics, but it was clanking, clacking. It was way too small for me. My feet are slipping off, and like nothing's shifting. The brakes are hardly working. And, but
all the signs were there.
All the signs were there, but that didn't stop us.
Right.
So we go out and we're riding this trail, and it's just blowing my mind. I've never even ridden on a mountain, and there's like this place. I don't even know where it was. But it had features, and I was just like, what's happening? and my brother knew the trail, and he's not thinking about me at all. He's just trying to show off. So he's just zooming.
Right.
And I'm an idiot. And so I'm following him blind and just expecting that he's going to like warn me about things. And sure enough, we hit this huge steep thing, and then we go up, and all of a sudden I'm in the air. I've never been in the air in my life.
I believe I can fly.
So I was like, I don't know what to do. I threw the bike out from under me. I had good instincts, but sure enough, I landed, and I'm like a cat. I landed on my feet, but I landed kind of like sideways to my how I was moving. And as soon as I landed, I just heard a like pop, pop, pop. And then I rolled down my side and started writhing in pain. And
there's always a noise when you get hurt bad.
When it's really bad, there's a noise.
And when you hear that noise, like, you can't explain it to anybody, but when you hear that, you're like, oh, this isn't good.
What have you done that has the noise?
That when I separated my shoulder, I knew as soon as I hit the ground, like instantly, like I heard that, like it was like a pop, like a rubber band snapped or something. And it was like, it didn't hurt right away. Like, it wasn't super painful. You know what I mean? Like, it hurt, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I just got my arm chopped off, but it was instantly, I was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as I hit the ground. And it's weird too. Like, how can you have like this like 15-minute dialogue in like a quarter of a second between like hitting the ground and being on the ground? Yeah. Like, you're like thinking about all kinds of stuff. You're like, oh, well, it's like, I don't understand.
I've made a huge mistake. That's the thing that's going through my head.
It just doesn't make any sense at all.
The funniest part of that story, though, is when this happened, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this was actually like right when I began. So that was my brother. He's my little brother. He was graduating high school, and I was already in college. But anyway, so I was actually up there for his graduation. We're with family. But the thing is I was still, at this point, I was still playing soccer. So in 3 weeks, I was supposed to report to my spring training for D1 Premier Soccer at school. And I had to call my coach up and tell him what had just happened.
Oh no.
He was not very happy.
What's the recovery time on something like that?
It took a year.
Oh Lord. So basically,
An
were you on like a ride?
year.
Like you were getting a ride for school, or?
I wasn't. Luckily, I was not. I did. I had like an academic ride,
Oh,
but
okay.
I did not have I was a walk on to the soccer team.
Okay.
Like I actually had to try out
Yeah.
and stuff. So luckily, I didn't have to like forego that. But I still was on the team, and like
Yeah.
the physical train. Like I worked with the PT guy at the team and recovered through them, and
Yeah, it's probably good though that you were on the team. Then you had that opportunity to work with the physical therapist and stuff.
I think it definitely helped because in the end, like at the end of the year, my knee that I had messed up was actually stronger and better than the other one
Mm-hmm.
because I'd spent so much time rehabbing it. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was terrible. That was like that's hands down the worst. So yeah, just got that out of the way.
Which one would you say was worse? When you fell with Brian and you messed up your shoulder, that was like
Seth?
Was it? That was Seth. I'm sorry, it was Seth. I'm sorry, it wasn't Brian. And that kind of like was the first time that you had fallen off of the internet for a little bit because you were having some struggles with that, right?
That was the first. That was the first dark age,
right? So was that fall worse? Or the one whenever you were on the bridge going down to the Keys with Seth as you were recovering from that fall? Which one was like the like mentally the worst?
So mentally, the first one was worse.
Yeah, just because you felt like your channel was growing and
exactly. It was like I just made. First of all, I was super embarrassed because it was so dumb.
Right.
It was like I was rolling off of a rock and there was just this divot that was covered in leaves that I didn't see, and my front wheel got hung up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, it's all on video and it's going up on the internet, not just my channel, but Seth's channel. It's like plastered across the internet. Yeah, I'm getting emails from like TV shows asking if they can use this footage and stuff, and I'm like,
"Are you serious?"
Geez. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like I go in and see my physical therapist, and like I'm just trying to give him all the information I can so he can best treat me. And I show him I'm like, here, this is what happened. Here's the guy, and he grabs my phone and he like goes and shows everyone in the office. He's like, yo, look at this. He dislocated his shoulder and his buddy, they just relocated it right there on the trail. Like next time I went into the doctor's office, everyone knew who I was.
Right. He's awesome.
I was like, oh gosh. Oh no. And so yeah, that video gets shown. I get emails to this day of people that are doing WFER and WFA classes, wilderness first aid. They show this video in the classes. No joke. I got an email recently.
Are they giving you guys props, or are they saying don't do this?
No, they're giving us props.
Right on. That's what I thought, because I thought you guys freaking handled that shit pretty well, man.
Yeah, that's and I couldn't believe it. But so I have learned that there was one way better that I could have done it. What I technically really should have done was laid on the rock and had Seth just pull my arm down. So if you lay across something and can have your shoulder or your arm laying off, so that you can pull it without pushing into the armpit, because his foot could technically, there's a chance to like get nerves pinched in there as it relocates when you do that way.
Okay.
So it's a lot cleaner if you're just pulling it with nothing pushing in there.
Oh, interesting.
Just in case anyone wanted to know, in case anyone is going to need to use that info.
So back to the original one. So mentally, then the first one was bad, but that second one
was the worst. The second one hurt so much more, though.
Yeah,
it's so funny how crazy that is, though, because the dislocation hardly hurt at all. I continued riding right after.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that fall on the bridge, ooh.
That was rough, huh?
Oh my God, that hurt.
When you guys still had some miles to do after that still, right? You had to rally.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I guess that I didn't even think about that. That was pretty demoralizing too.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so that one was also pretty rough, but I didn't know it at the time because that actually set me back substantially in my recovery.
Hmm.
It like almost doubled the amount of time that it took. So
Yeah.
I had already been doing a lot of rehab on my own, and that was like the impetus. I was starting to feel good, and I started
Yeah.
to feel like able. So I called up Seth. I'm like, "Yo, I'm so bored. I want to go get on. I want to go pedal, but I can't
Yeah.
quite mountain bike. I got this idea."
Yeah.
And so that was how that started. And then we did this thing, and then I had that fall, and I get back from that trip, and I actually went in to see a physical therapist at that point, and he was like, "Man, you're dicked. You this isn't looking good."
It's like
And
that
I
was
had
a
to start
bad
all
idea,
over.
dude.
I had to start all over.
Oh
So
Lord. What
yeah,
a
it was rough.
bummer. Maybe you should stop hanging out with Seth, dude.
Well, that's not fun. Where's the
Right?
fun in that? Then
Where's the
no,
fun in that?
hey, it all comes back to what I said earlier. When you are on your bike, you are responsible for your own destiny. It is only
Yeah,
you and only you.
that is
So
definitely
I take full responsibility and ownership of everything.
that's definitely the truth. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So, what bike are you riding nowadays?
So currently, I'm on a Canyons Drive and like a bunch of Canyon stuff. However,
Mhm.
I'm going to be changing soon,
Oh,
and I don't know what to.
oh, sweet.
So yeah, who knows?
I
It's
mean,
up in the air.
if I was gonna pull a bike out of the hat, I would go with the Ibis Rip Mode because it seems like everybody on YouTube's riding one right
I
now.
know, right? Those are cool guys. I mean, I got to ride with Chuck Ibis, and he's super cool guy.
Yeah,
Like really, really awesome dude.
yeah,
It makes a lot of sense why. Um, I mean, Brian had multiple interactions with him in the
hmm,
past, and he saw the same thing I did, and that was why Brian linked up with them. And I get it now. Like now
yeah,
that I've met and ridden with him, man, talk about a dude that's stoked on bikes and just like
yeah,
so down to earth,
yeah,
despite
yeah,
who he is,
yeah. No, I hear you. There's a few
And not
different
to mention the bike is awesome. Yeah, I've ridden
Yeah,
it.
I had a chance to ride it once, and for whatever reason that didn't work out. And I would like to ride that bike. I
Yeah.
um I was an anti 29er for a long time until I bought that Chameleon, and it was the first 29er that I rode that actually was like, this doesn't make me feel like I wish I was back on a 27.5.
Yes.
So
It's
so
not easy, is it? It's like there
yeah,
you do have to get the right one.
yeah. And so many people are riding that bike. Obviously, they're doing something right. But outside of that, what I was going to say was like, I've definitely met a few different brands along the way where
Hmm.
the guy that started the company was like, is what's like completely sold me on everything that they do,
Yeah.
And when that person that that's like running the show is like, it is for real like that, you're like, dude, I 100% commit to whatever product you're putting out because I know what type of person you are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably alike because I like the company, the vibe, the people mean almost just as much to me as the product.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think it's going to follow. I think the product will happen. That's something that you can actually change.
Yeah.
You can't change the people, so you
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
have
For
good
sure.
people from the get go.
For sure.
So that's I totally agree.
So I was wondering, there's a lot of you on the internet, so a lot of like what people probably, maybe there's some things that people assume that this is you, or because of maybe the way that you've been portrayed in certain videos or something like that.
Hmm.
Is there anything that people see or think about you that you would like a chance to like correct?
I feel like you have something in mind. What's on
No,
your
I
mind
don't.
here?
Not
What's
at
on your
all,
mind,
dude.
Rob?
I totally don't. I was just thinking, it just when something came to me, man. Like, because
I,
sometimes like people are like, oh man, everybody thought like the way I handled this thing, or
mhm.
everybody thought that I'm a jerk because I did this, or maybe it's just something you personally like, you know, man, that one guy came up to me and I was in a hurry and I wish I would have like turned around and said something to him instead. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying for sure. I mean, there's a ton. There's a ton because it's like you can't um, communicate perfectly. It's like I'm trying to make entertaining videos,
Yeah.
and depending on how you make it, people are going to see what they want to see. Everyone's going to see something different, and it's like at the end of the day, you can't. You just got to be happy, you
Hmm.
know, with yourself, with what you see in the video and that. So it's hard to say, but okay. So I can definitely tell you for one really funny story is when I first met Phil,
Hmm.
we sat down and we had this awesome conversation. And at the end of the conversation, he finishes it with, man, I really, I I don't know how to tell you this, but I from your videos, I didn't think you were that smart. He's like, I really didn't expect you to be able to have a solid conversation and like an intellectual conversation, and you know,
Oh Lord.
and I was like, I can see that. I can totally see that.
Oh, that's great. I probably fooled a few people along the way too then.
For sure. I mean, no one ever is thinking about the full context of anything. It's like my
Yeah.
first 250 videos is solely me riding a bike, which is
Right.
like the pinnacle of my stupidity.
Yeah.
So it's like the most amped and stupid I'll ever get. So it's like, am I always like that? No, kind of wish I could be, but
Yeah.
um, the one that really gets me, the one that's like really hits close to home, and there's nothing I can do about it, and
Hmm.
there's nothing that I don't know. But it would be nice to vent.
Hmm.
When I took time off, and
Yeah.
the thing is like if I don't communicate, it's on me, right?
Hmm.
It's totally on me, and I totally get that, which is why I don't get upset. I don't get mad.
Hmm.
It still hurts though.
Yeah.
But I saw a whole bunch of comments that were like, he's making so much money on Patreon that he doesn't care about us anymore. He doesn't need to make YouTube videos. And
Yeah.
that sucked to see. That sucked.
Yeah.
That like really, really hurt because if people have followed my channel and watched a lot of my stuff, and they still think that I make decisions in my life based around money, then I've completely failed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You definitely don't come across to me as a money driven person. A money driven person doesn't live in his car. You know? You know what
That's
I
true.
mean?
That's
Just
true. No, for sure.
like even living in the van, like it's not something that somebody that's money driven is like really materialistic, and they want to have a big house and a big
Driving
car,
a
a bunch of
fancy
cars.
car, and
Yeah, and like
yeah,
all the toy. They got to have a boat and a trailer, not an RV. You know what I mean? Not
right.
like live in 100 square feet. You know, like
Yeah. Oh man, if it was 100, that'd be nice.
yeah. I don't know how many square feet is in the van. Probably like
It's like
60.
just under. It's like just under 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that like the super long one? Can you fit that one in and still
Nope.
in a regular parking lot or
I can
parking
still
space?
fit it in a regular spot. That was the key. I have not. So Brian has the smallest one. I have the
Hmm.
middle, and then the next biggest is a full foot longer, which is it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like much, but oh my gosh, when you see it, it's
Yeah.
so much longer, and then that whole foot hangs out behind the wheel well, the back wheel
Yeah.
well.
So
So it's quite a bit.
your truck is probably as long as my F-150 then, probably
Yes,
about the same
probably.
size. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
That's not
I park in single spots. It's like if they're diagonal, they're really awesome.
bad.
If
Hmm.
they're perfectly perpendicular to like the drive, then
Hmm.
I can kind of get in a tight spot. If someone parks on either side of me and then also behind me, I can
Hmm.
kind of get into a tough situation if it's a tiny lot. But I've never had a problem. Like I just know what to look for, and like park in a regular spot at the grocery store. It's very nice.
Right on, dude. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
it's a big
Is
deal.
Is there anything that you would have changed with that whole build that like now, like looking back, like you're like, man, I wish I would have done this? Or
I mean, the renovation that I did last year were like the top tier. I wish I had things.
yeah.
So the cabinets above, because of that extra storage space and like
Mhm.
like pretty big storage space where I can fit strange objects like pots and pans. It's like
Mhm.
those things don't fit in average, like a little the skinny drawers that I had in the workbench.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
being able to put those above was so nice. And then like
Mhm.
coffee stuff and all sorts, like everything. It just freed up a lot of space. And then the sink is like total game changer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the fact that every night I had to open my freaking door to spit out toothpaste. It's like that was terrible. If you're,
Right.
because sometimes I'm in a parking lot surrounded by
Right.
other people. It's
Right.
like, and not just people camping. It's like people going shopping.
Right. Right. You're in
And then,
Walmart, right?
yeah, and I'm like opening my door and like launching out toothpaste. And it's like, it's like, you don't want to be that guy,
Right.
but I
Totally.
was.
You have like a toothpaste bottle that you could spit in?
Nah. No, I just launched it. I mean, I would always I wouldn't do it just onto the pavement. I would like be next to bushes. I would always make sure I was next to bushes or whatever. But now I have a sink and it's just right down there. I'm in my
Right.
van. I don't have to get out,
You talked about how much research you did before building that thing. And I'm like get on these kicks of where I think I'm gonna do it and I start falling into the rabbit hole. And it's just like
it's so easy to do.
In that little tiny bit of time, there's like so many like super ingenious ways that people have done stuff, and like where you'll see one and you'll think like, man, that thing's dialed, and then you'll see somebody else and they have a desk, they have a shower, they have a bathroom, they have room for their bikes, and you're like, how the hell did they get all this in there? It's just like crazy.
It's amazing what cameras can do.
Yeah.
So
just make it look good.
Yes, you get that GoPro lens, a wide angle lens, and
Yeah.
the inside of a van can look pretty big.
Yeah.
But you go stand in there with another person, especially, and it ain't big.
There's nothing there, huh?
Yeah, you go and you try to fit that bike and the surfboard, the kayak. It's
yeah.
All of a sudden there's no room to move, and it just feels like, I don't know, feels like a cage.
Right.
Being able to move around inside is the thing that makes it not feel terrible.
Right. Right. That's
So
what I like about your build, how your like bed turns into a couch. So it's like a kicking spot and freaking where you sleep, like.
Yeah. Being able to move it from like, if you like, you can sit on the couch and then you go and sit at the desk and it's like a completely different vantage point and it feels different. And that's key.
Yeah, mentally it's probably good,
It's very important for sure. And then you drop the bed and you go towards the back, and it's like, again, it's different, and it's nice. It's nice to be able to do that.
So you're pretty tall too, right? How tall are you?
Everyone thinks that.
You're not?
Seriously, everyone thinks that. No, you're like a foot taller than me.
Me? Dude, I do have a picture of me next to Seth, and I look like a freaking ogre, dude. It's just ridiculous.
I think I've seen that. I mean, I'm 5'10". It's like perfectly average, I think.
So you can't sleep sideways, though. You can't sleep like
right. I'm like it's so terrible. I'm like just too tall to do that. I needed to be, if I was 5'9", I could do that.
Yeah. I was thinking because that was one of the things.
You're screwed.
Yeah, I have to like build the bed longer. So if I was to do that, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You could there's always different options. Like you could just you don't have to do a bed all the way across. You can do a bed only on one half of the van, but then you have to build legs that'll sit in the middle.
Mm-hmm. No, I have to have it for able to fit me in.
Oh, that's right.
Because I got the lady. She's the key part. Because if I can't talk her into it, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, because to me, it's like, if we're not going to go out and do some like serious trips, it makes absolutely no sense to spend the money to even buy a used truck and build it out. Like that's a boatload of money. There's like a lot of hotel rooms I could pay for. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the thing where it's like, it definitely has to be something that she's happy with. And I'm like stoked about too,
Yeah, well, I think you're ahead of the curve thinking, like, understanding that, because I think unfortunately a ton of people fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Where they make that investment and they spend all that time and then they never do the trip.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm more interested in like building it than anything. Like,
oh wow, then we're complete opposite. I don't even want to do another build.
I'm not saying that I like actually would be super motivated about that, but I know like that's the part that's like really intriguing to me right now. So I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of like I do a lot of stuff around here, like little projects.
You like building stuff.
Yeah, I think so. And I think as much as I like really come off of like a shoot from the hip kind of guy, like I definitely like to like do the research and like figure this out. But then at the same time, like wing it too, you know, where it's like, all right, we're just shoot. We'll do this, you know?
Yeah.
But I like that, you know, like when you get done a project, and I'm sure you did it with the band a billion times, like you sit there with like having a beer afterwards, just stare at it. Like it's like, you're like, this looks so cool.
It's pretty satisfying. Yeah, no, I'll give you that. I definitely am learning to enjoy it, especially hanging around here, you know, like building that feature this last week, Elmer Fudd here on Burn Peak. That was extremely satisfying.
Yeah.
We just wrapped on pretty much wrapped on a project today, like a humongous project.
Right on.
And looking at it, like you said, it's like Seth and I sat down at the end of the day, we're like both just annihilated.
Yeah.
And we can hardly keep our eyes open and move. And we sat down and we like looked down, we looked at this and we're like, oh my gosh, that looks incredible. That's awesome. Just made that from nothing. Like it is a cool feeling.
Yeah. It's really easy to be motivated on something like that too. Cause like, I don't know, for me, like when I'm in the middle of something like that, I wake up like first thing, I'm like, I have to force myself to eat breakfast before I like get into like whatever I'm getting into. I have like that. Go ahead.
I just pound some coffee.
Yeah. I'll like tend to like not like, it'll be like, dude, it's 1 o'clock. You still haven't eaten. Like seriously, make something happen here, dude. But man,
when you're neck deep in a project, that's easy to have. That happened to us today.
Yeah, good stuff. So we're getting pretty close to wrapping up. So I'm gonna ask you one more thing before we go. Who do you like to watch on YouTube, man?
Oh man, I watch a bunch of weird stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've been watching. So recently, I've actually been diving like massively into music. I think it's just so cool that. So I've been watching this one piano channel. Did you watch my video this last week?
I'm sure I watched it. Whatever just came out.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, so I started picking up the piano and playing.
No.
Right. Purely research. Pen and paper notes.
Right.
So anyway, I stared to remember that I, start playing the piano again. Remember that I really enjoy it.
Oh, that the electronic piano in the van.
Yeah, so I've been watching these piano channels, and just it's so cool. There's these channels that play the piano at such an insanely high level. It is mind blowing how crazy these piano pieces are. But the way they set it up is so cool. It's like a Guitar Hero style, but with piano. So the notes are falling, cascading down, and then the keys are lighting up as they're playing. Very aesthetically pleasing. And then, I mean, I just think, classical music is beautiful. So, but I've been listening to quite a bit of that. And, but just music in general on YouTube has been blowing my mind, because there's so many people that are putting themselves out there in such a public way on the internet. And you can just access them by the click of a button. You can find hundreds of thousands of people that are like pouring out their souls via music right in front of your face, and you get to watch it, and it's really cool. If you just dive down a rabbit hole, it's like it can take you to some pretty crazy places if you just follow the music. It's pretty cool.
Music's a beautiful thing, man. It's definitely that was my first passion in life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually went to school for studio recording. Like,
Shut up.
yeah, that's what I started out with. So that's the only reason I always tell people. They ask me how I got to California. I always say because I wanted to be a rock star.
No way.
Yeah. It's funny stuff, right?
I
So
mean, that's pretty cool.
yeah, dude. I honestly I forgot to bring it up. I was gonna show you. I was gonna while we were talking. My senior picture looks like a brown-haired, beardless single-track sampler. Like
Oh,
I'll have to
dude,
I'll
wait,
send it
do
to
you
you in
have
text,
it?
man. Yeah, I
Okay.
not that I can pull up here, but I'll shoot it to you on text afterwards. You'll get a kick out of it, man.
I would love to see that for sure. That sounds hilarious.
Dude, I super appreciate, man, you coming on the show again, dude. It was so much fun.
Heck
Every
yeah,
time we
man.
chat, it's a good time for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm amped, dude. I'm amped
I'm
that we got
stoked to see you get this thing going again.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. I'm really excited about it. Is that here we are. We're doing a new format. Got some great guests lined up. Next week's going to be BKXE. The week after that, Phil's going to be on. I have to talk to him
Oh
about
my
how he
gosh.
thought you were stupid. And
Yeah, ask about that.
So-
Dude, that'll be a curveball. He will not see that coming.
yeah. I'll definitely have to mention that to him. I'm gonna go ahead here and sign off, but hang around. I'll chat with you in a little bit. So
Okay.
everybody here, I appreciate everybody coming and checking out the show. It's been super fun. Thanks a lot, Alex, for being on, man. Seriously.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for watching too, or listening, whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Whether you're at home on the internet, looking at it while you're taking a dump or commuting to work, hopefully after COVID stuff is over, that'd be nice to do, right? Listening to a podcast. Either way, I really appreciate it. I want you guys to remember to check out Project 321 if you can. They're a show sponsor. I forgot to mention earlier, like amazing freaking host that I am, that Project 321 actually has a B1KER Bar Baller coupon code for 10% off of their gear. So they're super solid hubs, and Jake builds super solid wheels. I've been banging around on those night wheels for over a year that he built, not even tuned once. And as you guys know, I'm not a little dude. So he's building some solid wheels, and you can get 10% off a whole wheel set. So that's definitely something you should check out. Please subscribe and share this. That's another thing that I really need to happen right now. The channel is like small, it's tiny, it needs to get out there so people can know about it. And so if you see something that you like, share it. If you got a buddy that is talking about wants to hear a mountain bike podcast or something, shoot him a link. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Like I said, next week is BKXE. That's going to be a really fun show. It'll definitely be a good time. I'm going to go ahead and hit this up here like this. And we got that going on. So the last thing I want to say to you guys, and you guys know this is coming, right? It only takes a bike to be a biker. So get out and be one. Thanks a lot, Alex. It was awesome, dude.
Thank you, man.